Field to field across America with SFP at Waxahachie, Texas. Reggie Underwood told me about using NutriSphere-N on his wheat fields.
Our first use of these products, of the SFP products, was NutriSphere on our wheat. In the area, in this specific farm, we're next to a creek bed and the water table is fairly shallow. So one of the issues, or one of the problems we really have, is getting timely application of nitrogen. So my first trial with NutriSphere was we were using liquid nitrogen, we was using a broadleaf control products, and then we put the NutriSphere in one tank. Well, as typical spring would happen, we got a lot of rain, and the area that was not treated with the NutriSphere was yellow. And it made about 15 bushels less than what our treated area made.
Reggie told us he's confident the NutriSphere-N will do the job with that nitrogen on the wheat fields he's already top-dressed. Join us again next week, Field to Field with SFP. Field to field across America with SFP. At Waxahachie, Texas, south of Dallas, Reggie Underwood produces hay for the horse owners of the region. Using AVAIL from SFP on his coastal Bermuda grass helps improve both the volume and quality of the hay.
Because the larger ranches have been broken up into smaller tracts, we have several 20, 30, 40 acre tracts here where individuals have either their roping horses or their barrel racing horses or just enjoy being out in the country and riding a horse on the trails. They want it to be weed free, and they certainly want it to have a lot of good leaf on the coast of Bermuda, and so it's a quality product. They want it to have a good green color, where they also like to have bales that are pretty uniform. They'll be in a flake, and so when they go to feed that horse every evening and every morning, they can easily break a flake out of that bale and feed directly into their trough.
Join us again next week as we go field to field across America with SFP. Field to field across America with SFP. South of Dallas, Texas, Reggie Underwood showed me the fine quality forage he's harvested thanks to AVAIL. Reggie has seen a big difference between his untreated Bermuda grass and the fields where he's used AVAIL.
When we moved into the AVAIL treated area on the Bermuda patch, we had to actually slow down. Our RPMs were working good, the baler was working great, but we just had too much volume of hay going into that baler. And so we had to slow down one full gear. That tells me that the runners on the grass was a lot thicker, and the volume and quality of grass hay that we were cutting was better. And what's really nice, when we opened that bale up, the flakes were very uniform. For coastal, it really made a beautiful bale, and that's what sold us on the AVAIL with our fertilizer program.
Join us again next week as once more we take you field to field across America with SFP. Field to field across America with SFP. At Waxahachie, Texas, Reggie Underwood is giving his fields of Bermuda grass forage the 1-2 punch, protecting his fertilizer investment first with AVAIL, then NutriSphere-N from SFP.
What we've changed to is to stack our fertilizer program. We've attached the phosphate with our AVAIL to get a quick start, and then to supplement with rapid growth, we use the NutriSphere and our liquid nitrogen, and then that seems to give us not only a great volume of first cutting, but a more rapid regrowth in our second cuttings and cuttings thereafter. And I believe that's because we're using the AVAIL with the phosphate and the NutriSphere with the nitrogen. And so what I saw when other producers were cutting, and it takes about 5 to 7 days for that Bermuda grass to start really actively growing again, we were almost growing in the next day or so.
Join us again next week, field to field across America with SFP.